Hello everyone, welcome to Claret and Booze. This is a match reaction. West Ham are off and running. We've just beat Palace 2-0. I'm so relieved because I was not happy before the game when I saw that starting lineup. Before we go anywhere, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe and drop a like on this video because it does really help us. I was supposed to be there today. I was supposed to be there. I had a nightmare journey. First of all, got on the train, got booted off, had to come back home, collected my car, tried to drive, and you know, by the time I got there, got anywhere near in the vicinity of the ground, it was about 20 past, past. Couldn't find a parking space. Was watching it on my phone. I just thought, oh, sod this. Which was a mistake in the end, because to be honest, the second half was the best bit. So I should have, you know, I would have made at least the last half an hour. So I probably should have done that. But look, it doesn't matter because I went on to thoroughly enjoy the game, and it isn't just to win. It's the end of the game as well, because it weren't a vintage performance. It wasn't great. Like I said, I'll go back to the starting lineup. When that starting lineup was released, we was kind of, well, most people were aware of what was said to be happening around about an hour and a half before kickoff. And you saw it and you think, no changes. How can there be no fucking changes? How can that be? You know, so it wasn't just me. There was an awful lot of anger surrounding that team selection. There was, and my mindset was, we better fucking win. I was fuming at that point. The first half, it was a bit of a non-event. We had a few chances, but you had the same problems. You had kind of Bowen was isolated because he was being pegged back. You had, but again, we saw the reasons why once the changes were made later on. But Bowen was isolated, Kudus was isolated. I thought Paqueta had a better game. He showed a much better attitude in this one. Much better. You had Thomas Souček doing his usual. He did pop up and score, as he often does. He does score a goal, but the amount of fouls he gives away, he's all over the place. He done all right. Souček done okay. But my God, did we look a whole lot better when things changed later on. Like I said, in the first half, we had quite a few shots on goal, but none on target, and Palace had a few pretty golden opportunities. The best of which wasn't really a golden opportunity. It was kind of a weldy strike from Eze, which just crashed off of the crossbar. Really, really good effort, and we were lucky to be going in at 0-0 at that point. So I just thought with some of the performances, because Antonio was having a mare again, Soufal, don't even get me started. Kilman and Mavropanos were great. Emerson was good. I thought Rodriguez had a better game. He looked like he'd settled into it a little bit more. Like I said, Paqueta was okay as well. But yeah, Bowen, Kudus and Antonio, you know, they just looked so disjointed and isolated in that first half. I think Palace dealt with them far too easily. It wasn't addressed early on in the second half. We came out with the same team. No changes were made. And then we basically had the whole subs bench out there warming up from the 50th minute. And it was obvious that some changes were going to come. Thomas Souček popped up. We had a bit of a goalmouth scramble, and the ball broke to Thomas Souček, who was doing one of his kind of late box crashing runs into the box. I think it was a bit of a ricochet. But it's a goal. It was a good goal. And the best thing about that goal, which does go to show the mark of the man, was the celebration. The holdings fell over and a ball boy got trapped underneath. And obviously, Thomas Souček being Thomas Souček, I've said he's a lovely man. I'd love to have a cup of tea with him. He's went from elation to panic for the child that was trapped underneath the holding. So whilst Lucas Paqueta sat on the holding, enjoying all the adulation of the fans and sort of smiling, you had Thomas Souček looking panic-stricken, trying to lift up the holdings to release the poor child that was being crushed. The child's fine, by the way. He's okay. He walked off. But got the goal. We made those changes, which made a massive, massive difference to us. So Antonio comes off, Fulkrug comes on, Soufal comes off, and Aaron Wan-Bissaka makes his introduction. And it was basically because of that. So Wan-Bissaka was introduced before we scored. It made a huge difference. Massive. You know, he's not even up to speed yet, but my God, we've actually got a right back. We've got a player we've got some presence on the right-hand side, a real player. Made a massive difference, and he was involved in the build-up to that first goal. And then we scored not long after. We got a quick-fire double. So Max Kilman breaks from defence, a really good run, feeds it into Bowen, and Bowen scored a typical Bowen goal. Runs at the defender, chops inside. My son made He said he reminds him of Yarmolenko. He said, remember when Yarmolenko, everyone knew he was going to chop inside and shoot on his left. Everyone knew it was going to happen, but you can't stop it. Bowen's a little bit like that when he's in that position. You know what he's going to do. And he scored. It was a beautiful goal. 2-0. We're fully in control. And then the changes kept coming. We saw Alvarez come on for Souček. I'm sorry. We looked so much better. When we changed shape, this is the part that encouraged me, because it wasn't just a win. We've all seen Thomas Souček score them goals before. We've seen Bowen score those goals before. But the change made a massive difference to me. It was just seeing the shape change, the shape shift. You had Rodriguez and Alvarez tearing about in central defensive midfield, and you had Paqueta free to kind of roam forward and sort of sit in that 10. You had Fulkrug up front. He had a really good chance. Poor fella. He was slipped through. I think it was from Bowen towards the end. Was it Bowen? I think it was. And he kind of hesitated. It was on his left foot as well. He hesitated. Whereas if he was in the groove, you can imagine he would have just pulled the trigger, but he didn't. He took too long, basically. So he could have got off and running because he was in a really good position, slipped through in the 18-yard box. It was at an angle, but he should have pulled the trigger sooner than what he did. In the end, a very, very good win. It was an evenly matched game. There was no point really. Like I said to you, the first half was Crystal Palace's, I would say, but not by much. I wouldn't say they was running us ragged. Possession stats were similar, passing stats were similar. And when you look at I don't go by stats, but if you look at the XG at the end of the game, it was 0.45 and 0.45 goals for both teams. They had slightly more possession, they had slightly more passes, but to no avail. They had quite a few chances towards the end, but we were defending well. So Mavropanos and Kilman, I think, have formed a very, very good partnership. They've given Lopetegui a bit of a headache because we've now got Todibo kind of standing there waiting for his introduction, but Mavropanos ain't ready to step aside yet. You can see that. They've got a partnership, those two. They look brilliant. Todibo did look a little bit kind of... he gave away a foul on just outside the box when he came on, which was silly. It was rash. Went in for the first challenge and then went in again and gave a free kick away in a really dangerous area. And that was when Paqueta gave us one of the moments of the game. He was right, though. So they've got a set piece. Eze's lining it up. And I think it was Walton. He did touch the ball. Only just, but he touched it. Paqueta's seen it and he's just come tearing out. He's come tearing out. He was right. He did exactly the right thing. That's that. In the laws of the game, Paqueta did the right thing, but the ref can't have seen the touch. So he kind of pulled it back and they had to go again. But no, a very, very good, a good 3 points, a great 3 points. We've not had a good time at Selhurst Park just recently. Probably a bonus that I didn't go today because the last 2 times I've been, it hasn't been great. So, and I always go to Crystal Palace as well. I always manage to get tickets for that game, but I did for this one, but didn't make it inside the ground. Gutted. Sorry about that, Fordy. I will buy you many beers next time. All right. So sorry about that, mate. But at least you had a good day. You had a good day. So it ended well. And I'm so relieved it did because, like I said, I was fuming. So many people were as well. Like I've got a few mates that have kind of been on at me saying, Nick, you got to give him time. You got to give him time. And they saw that lineup and it broke them. They was going, what the fuck? What is he doing? Because we're all so desperate for him to succeed and we just want him to get them players in. But I think that we've seen now that the transition is going to start to happen. You saw that. The team that finished the game, that is kind of the team. Obviously, minus Kudus. Kudus has got to be on the field. I think our brightest moments in the first half, before we scored, I think it came from Kudus when he was more central. I don't like him being stuck out on the left. I really don't. But I fear that that's where we're going to be seeing him this season. I do think that that's what we're going to be seeing from him. But it just looked more threatening, didn't it? Do you know, like towards the end, did you see it when we kind of shape-shifted and all of a sudden you had Paqueta in the 10, you had Kudus, you had Bowen and you had Fulkrug. Those 4 running at the Palace defence. I mean, that's tasty. It really is. It is. So, no, credit to the team, credit to Lopetegui. We had to get points on the board. We've got Man City next. We do not want to be going into an international break with no points on the board. That's not going to happen now. It's unlikely we get anything against City, but you don't know. The pressure's off a little bit now. That's a gift, and not a gift. It's a free hit against City. Ipswich made the mistake of going 1-0 up against them today, didn't they? Very silly. You got to leave it a little while before you score against them if you're going to do that, because they get pissed off. But no, look, very, very good, very happy, but more happy with the way we looked towards the end. You know, it was just wonderful to see Alvarez back. There's a lot of positives that I can take from that now. I can breathe a sigh of relief. You know, I was watching a stream yesterday, and there was loads of people in the game. Lopetegui's not going to win a game. He's not going to get a point. You know, be careful what you wish for. Well, we've got points, so fuck off. All right, we're off and running. Okay, well done, Loppy. Well done, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. We can have fun now. I'm actually going to have fun. I'm going out tonight after the bastard day that I've had. It's ending well. West Ham have won. You know, it's brilliant. I'm going out on the piss now. Have a good time. Speak to you all later. Come on, you irons.